I think you have to understand the economics. So we just got to see earlier this morning a speech by Charlie Lee, and the title of his speech, I believe, was The Intrinsic Value of Cryptocurrencies. And then he listed a couple of the things there. It just shows that he has absolutely no economics background to even speak to that sort of thing at all.
Roger, don't run away. Roger, don't run away.
You still got a lot of stuff to talk about.
So blockchain is, Bitcoin is very volatile, and the reason why it's very volatile is because no one knows from day to day, like one day you may think Bitcoin is going to become the world reserve currency, it's going to be like $100 trillion market cap. The next day a large exchange gets hacked, and then people would think that Bitcoin is worthless because no one can properly secure it. So these events cause a lot of hype, and then a big crash when it gets overhyped. So I've seen that a few times over the past years. So I think we'll continue to see that as this ecosystem matures and people start to understand what actually makes Bitcoin valuable and what the true value of Bitcoin is.
What makes it valuable?
For me, it's properties of sound money. So the fact that it's censorship resistant, transactions is immutable, so you can't, no one can block you from spending your Bitcoin, no one can reverse or take away your Bitcoins, it can't be counterfeited, and it can't be devalued by a government, for example. So you can't just print more Bitcoin out of thin air like you do with fiat currency. So these properties give Bitcoin, makes Bitcoin very valuable, and it makes it sound money. And it's something that's never existed in kind of the history of humankind. So that's why it's hard to understand, and it's so new.
Apart from the Bitcoin, which cryptocurrencies do you think have a future, and which of them are already are becoming the thing of the past and
I'm focused on Bitcoin and Litecoin. So I also wanted Litecoin to be sound money, just like Bitcoin, and to work alongside Bitcoin to handle the transactional needs of sound money in the future. So there's definitely a lot of coins in the space. Most of them are not really going towards the same goal of sound money. So for example, Ethereum is a smart contract platform. So to me, it's not really money, and it's not sound money. So I wouldn't keep my money in Ether, right? I would, if I want to use Ethereum for smart contract reasons, I would buy some Ether and just use it then and there. So there's definitely a lot of ICO tokens that really don't, in my mind, have not a lot of value. So yeah, so I'm focused on sound money, which is Bitcoin and Litecoin.
Okay, and do you distinguish the blockchain technology, like its implementation in things like voting or land registry or supply chains, and cryptocurrency as a financial industry? Do you think that these things are do they relatively depend on each other?
Yeah, so blockchain technology gives us decentralization, and decentralization is costly. It's inefficient. So a centralized system can run on one server. A decentralized system needs like 10,000 servers, for example. So then it would be 10,000 times as expensive to run a decentralized server system. So someone needs to pay for that cost. And unless your application really needs decentralization, it's not worthwhile for you to pay for that cost. So things like money sound money needs decentralization. Decentralization gives us censorship resistance and immutability. So it's a worthwhile reason to have that and pay for it. Right. But other things, one example I like to bring up is, for example, CryptoKitties on the Ethereum network, where people are trading cat collectibles, right? It's on the Ethereum network. It caused the Ethereum network to come crashing down because it's not really needed. Decentralization is not needed for this application, and people have to pay pay for the cost of decentralization. So if Google or Amazon were running a smart contract platform, a centralized smart contract platform that had CryptoKitties on it, everybody would be perfectly fine using something like that because they trust Google and Amazon enough to not steal their cats. Right, so you have to ask yourself, why do we need CryptoKitties on the Ethereum network, which is very expensive? And the answer is you don't. So a lot of things like that, you have to ask, do you really need decentralization? So one example you gave is land registry. Do you need a decentralized land registry? If you think about it more, you actually don't, because in the end, there is a centralized government body that decides who owns what, right? If I have a token that represents my house, and if someone steals my token, can they come into my house to kick me out? No.
Well,
right? What I mean, in this society, if you manage to steal my token, I'm not going to let you steal my house, right? The government still decides this house belongs to me, right? So if that's the case, why do you need a expensive decentralized system to support this? You might as well just rely on a centralized system where the government tells you who owns what, which is what we have today, and it's not broken.
you mentioned Google, and you're an ex-Googler, and do you you probably heard that Sergey Brin mentioned like a couple months ago on that summit with Richard Branson. He said that Google is unfortunately is not on the bleeding edge with blockchain technologies anymore.
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah, I mean, and it's also why I left Google, because while I was at Google, I was hoping to find a blockchain project to work on, right? And they weren't really on the cutting edge with blockchain stuff, so that's why I left and joined Coinbase, because I wanted to work on Bitcoin, Litecoin full time. And yeah, Google is a bit slow with respect to working on blockchain.
If they will eventually get blockchain inside their work, would that work out well for all of us? Because Google is a centralized thing.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't think centralization is bad, like always, right? Centralization gives you efficiency. So certain things like companies, centralized companies work a lot more efficient. And even like governments, like if you have a benevolent dictator, a very centralized government, it works very efficiently. But democracy is better, but democracy is inefficient. Right? You have to get everyone to agree. You have to, you can't just have someone say, do this, and the whole country does this, right? So there's good and bad. For governments, like a democracy. For companies, centralization makes them more efficient.
Okay. And you made a very interesting remark about this conversation with Roger. You said while he was asking you about this, if people should call it Bitcoin Cash or Bcash or whatever, and you said, why does a name matter? Do you think a name does not matter? Because I've been witnessing that for the last couple of days, that there's a huge division inside the crypto industry, and people cannot, get consensus with each other. So how will crypto industry affect the outer world? How will we bring this freedom to the world if we cannot talk to each other?
Yeah, I mean, language matters, right? So I think naming matters in respect to avoiding confusion. So that's why I don't like the name Bitcoin Cash, because it's very confusing.
I don't mean a name. I mean, does it really matter which cryptocurrency will be massively adopted, or it does not matter which cryptocurrency will that be? Just
no, it does matter. I believe that Bitcoin and Litecoin are sound money, but Bcash is not. So massively adopting Bcash is no different from PayPal 2.0. Right? So I'm not working towards making another currency that is centralized. I'm working on a decentralized currency that is not controlled by any person or government or groups of people, right? With like Bcash, there's a meeting like in November, they're doing a hard fork, and Craig Wright it wants to push Bitcoin Cash one way, Jihan Wu wants to push Bitcoin Cash another way, and these are two like billionaires that are trying to take control of the direction of Bcash, and that just makes it not sound money. It's controlled by groups of people,
right.
And Bitcoin and Litecoin are not. So it's very different. So Bitcoin Cash being massively adopted.
This is why you sold your Litecoin assets back in the day.
Yeah. So I focus on adoption, and I don't want to get distracted by price.
One more question about the panel discussion that you had yesterday, and Olga Feldmer told you about the Zappo vault. Remember? And everyone was like, "Do people really have their right to hold on their private keys?" And she said, "No." Would you disagree? Did you disagree?
Yeah. Well, I think Olga thought that Zappo is a good solution. I think it's a decent solution. So I think people should have the right to hold their own private keys, and if they want to relinquish this right so that a third party can hold it and make it easier for them, that's their right to do that. So you're relying on third party to secure your coins. So I keep coins on Coinbase, right? I keep some coins on Coinbase because it's easy. They secure it. They have an app, makes it very easy for me to send Bitcoins. Do I control the coins? No. If they get hacked, the thief can steal my coins. I know that. It's kind of like having a wallet where you can lose the wallet and lose like $50 in it, but you're not going to keep all your money in it. You want to protect it somewhere else that you have control over it. But yeah, so back to the question, I don't think that a solution like Zappo or Coinbase is the final solution that makes Bitcoin easy to use, because in the end, that's still a third-party control. So we want something that is a hardware wallet, something like that, where you still have control, but it's still very easy to use. And we just have to iterate and keep building better products until we get there.
So how much more time do we need to see the mass adoption? Like how many generations?
It's hard to say. I don't know the future. I think I would guess like maybe 5-10 years.
5-10 years.
Could take longer. So the things we have to build out is just making it easy for people to hold and secure their own coins. So it's important, security and ease of use, right? So have both of those is really important. And then also being able to easily spend your coins, right? The end goal of Bitcoin, Litecoin is money. It's going to replace traditional fiat currency. So right now, if you're buying stuff with Visa, MasterCard, it's very easy. You swipe the card or you put in the chip, and then a few seconds later, everything gets confirmed. You don't know what exactly happens. You don't care. You pay the money, you got the product. So we need Bitcoin and Litecoin to be just as easy, where you do something, you make the payment. It could be either through Lightning Network, or it could be on-chain. It could be using Litecoin or Bitcoin. You don't really care. All you care is that payment gets transferred from you to the recipient, and you get the product. So we need to get to that point where it's just as easy to use crypto as it is to use traditional fiat currencies.
What made you create a Litecoin back in the days? What was the main trigger for you?
It was actually just for fun. I wanted to, for fun, I created a coin, but the idea behind it has always been creating silver to Bitcoin's gold. So when I first found out about Bitcoin, I realized it's like a better version of gold. It's digital gold. It has all the properties of sound money from gold, but it's better because you can send it worldwide. It's borderless. And I've known in history that there's gold and silver being used as money. One is heavier, harder to spend. One is lighter and easier to spend. So I kind of just set out to create Litecoin being the silver version of Bitcoin's gold. Yeah, so I see Litecoin as complementing Bitcoin and working together.
About the gold investment, your brother Bobby mentioned yesterday that you were like massive gold investors back in the days. What did you do with your gold? Did you replace it with crypto?
I wouldn't say massive gold investors. I was just...
Well, he didn't call it massive. I mean...
Yeah, I was interested. Yeah, I had some physical gold, like 10 ounces of gold, or I bought gold when it was like... Yeah, I bought like 10 ounces when it was like $200 because I saw the value of sound money. And then it went up to like $1,000. Yes, I really understood the value of having money that is not at the whim of another party of the government like printing more money. Like as you saw with like quantitative easing, the U.S. government decided to bail out the banks by just printing more money, right? And it devalued everyone's currency, and you had no say in it. And that's not sound money. That's not money I want to keep my money in. So that's why I bought gold. And when I found out Bitcoin, I realized that this is a better version of gold. So I actually sold my 10 ounces of gold and bought Bitcoin with it.
What is going to happen to Litecoin network in the near future? Like, what do you expect development?
So right now, I think like Lightning Network is being worked on. It works on both Bitcoin and Litecoin, and that's going to really help with scaling Bitcoin and Litecoin to millions and billions of users. That's something that I'm very excited about. And I guess that's the first thing to help Litecoin. In kind of in the distant future, there'll be other things like adding more fungibility and privacy to Litecoin. Fungibility is one of the features of money that is missing from Bitcoin and Litecoin, and I'm hoping that we could change that.